do you feel like at times that people are maybe coming to church but not realizing the call or the cost of following Jesus? It's probably a good way of saying it.
Certainly, I think sometimes we treat the presence of God like a tourism thing. Like, we live in LA and there's all those TMZ vans like driving around with people like with binoculars, like looking at people's houses, like treating, like, I don't know, it's like a zoo. It's like so bizarre. But sometimes I think that that's, they pull up outside celebrities' houses and try and see. And sometimes I think that that's how Christians treat God. Like, they like pull up outside his house and like try and get the binoculars and get a glimpse of him. And he's like, the door's open, come in, And it's like DC spoke so articulately and passionately this morning. He doesn't want to entertain us, and he doesn't need us to entertain him. He wants us to look him in the eye. I was talking to one of my friends who's from South Korea, and I was just asking her about, we all have these lenses with which we approach our relationship with God and the kingdom, right? We all have the way that we were raised, the cultures that we were raised in. I was raised in New Zealand, which is actually a very different culture to Australia. So the lens with which I approach certain things is different to even my husband. The way that my family dynamic affects the way that I communicate in my own marriage. And we all have these lenses, right? But I think we all have these lenses, but the cross of Christ is the great equalizer. So we must constantly place ourselves there. And I was talking to my friend from South Korea, and I was asking her, how does your cultural lens affect the way that you approach God? And she said to me, one time I was praying and all of a sudden I saw a vision of myself kneeling down and begging God for things. She was like, because in my culture, there is absolute authority and you respect absolute authority. And I saw myself kneeling in this vision. She said, I saw myself kneeling down and begging God for something. And she said, and then in the vision, I felt a tap on my shoulder and I turned around and it was the Lord. And he said, stand. He said her name and then he said, stand up and turn around and look me in the eye. And I think that we all must try it, not dig into self-awareness so much that we become this introspective, reflective person that never does anything. But I think we also have to be aware of the lenses with which we approach God and ask him to bring correction and adjustment, so that we can see clearly through all of these filters with which we see things.